President Cyril Ramphosa has invited the public to nominate candidates as the country searches for its next Chief Justice. The President says the departure from old ways is meant to boost, if you will, transparency and encourage public participation. A panel chaired by a former United Nations High Commissioner for Human Rights, that's Navi Pillay, will shortlist 3 to 5 candidates and submit their names to the President. The team will then have to make these submissions before the end of October. Let's discuss this further then with Professor Zulinzi Mandevu, Director of the School of Public Leadership at Stellenbosch University. Prof, grateful for your time. Welcome to Newsfeed PM. So a lot of mixed reaction to the Presidency's announcement on Thursday. Is this a good or a bad thing in your view?
Good afternoon, and thank you for having me. I think the President is really trying to show transparency and trying to save face around the integrity of the judicial system within the country. So it is more a public relations exercise than anything else.
And just on that point then, when you say it's more a public relations exercise and that the President is trying to save face, to what end and what are the specific issues do you see him wanting to address through this?
I think he wants to reclaim or boost confidence of the general public on the judicial system. We would know that there has been talks from different quarters of the judicial system being captured or being influenced by certain influential elements within the country, either be political parties or individuals. The President is now trying to say that we have a transparent process, we have an open process where everybody can contribute in appointing a Chief Justice. But we know that in practice, or the practicality of it is not possible. You need to appoint a jurisprudent person with an exceptional record within the judiciary. You need to also have a person that has the required competency. And I don't think the general public has the competency to determine that. So
and
that's why I'm saying it's a
pardon me, Prof. That was going to be my next question. As you say, the people who essentially would qualify for nomination would, as you say, have to have the backing of some form of body in good standing within the legal profession, an NGO, for example. So open to the public is not really open to the public, is it?
Yes, it is not realistic because we remember that you need people with certain expertise to be able to make a determination as to whether any individual is suitable for that position or not. And it's not a popularity contest where you would have people being voted by the majority of the public or a voice by the majority of the public. So you need a person of exceptionally good public and professional standing. So practically, I don't see it being realistic for the general public to be able to assist the President and the Judicial Service Commission to be able to do that.
But just on, I mentioned NGOs, for example, but does that part of the process, for example, not further than compromise possibly the candidates, because some of the NGOs, whether right or wrong, have been drawn into some of the politicking around the judiciary, and you wonder if candidates they put forward may not face unnecessary scrutiny should they be shortlisted and ultimately if that person is appointed as Chief Justice?
I think for me, the determining factor is to how far do we go scrutinizing candidates. And you are correct that the NGOs have also been involved in politics and other interest groups. So whoever they put forward must be able to stand the test of scrutiny, public scrutiny, must be able to demonstrate that they have the requisite integrity to be able to serve in that position. And if they fail in that score, then that particular individual should not be appointed. We should, if we allow people to raise their views and contribute in this discussion in the appointment of the Chief Justice, we should take it all the way. Where there are objections, we should listen to those objections as well.
Let's talk about the Chief Justice, Mogoeng. He's still not back in office. His term of office comes to an end in a matter of weeks now. What does that say about his exit and his standing currently as the most powerful man in the judiciary?
I think this was not handled properly. We know that we're told that he is on sabbatical. But I think before he went on sabbatical, there was a controversy around him and the issue of vaccination and his Christian belief. And the fact that that was not managed correctly then talks a lot around how to manage these public institutions, especially the judiciary, in how do we ensure that there is smooth transition from one Chief Justice to the other. I think in terms of his standing, Judge Mogoeng, I think he has a lot, people have a lot of respect for him because of his principled stance on matters of corruption and matters of fairness and access to judiciary and all of that. But how he has exited that office has left more questions than answers, and that worries.
And Prof, I must warn you that we're on standby. We'll continue with our coverage of the various parties campaigning for the elections. But I want to squeeze in a final question with you and ask you about just how attractive, in fact, let's leave it there for now, Prof. I'm told we have to move on. We've got some developing news. That is Professor Zolinzi Mandevu from Stellenbosch University. Thank you so much for speaking to us, sir.
Much.